Hey, I'm back. Are you struggling to learn CPA exam material with your traditional text-heavy CPA review course? Then I highly suggest that you check out Universal CPA Review's free trial. Because Universal CPA Review is the only CPA review course that is truly designed for visual learners. Universal CPA Review has proven to increase scores by 19% on average when adding our unique approach to traditional programs like Becker. How can you sign up? Well, there's a link in the description of this video. Simply click on that link and register your account today.
Okay, so now in day 7 through day 12, we're going to talk about one of the heaviest topics that is tested. Okay, so this is a lot of information, and we're going to talk about the balance sheet. Specifically, we'll focus on assets. All right, so starting with cash and cash equivalents, which is one of the most important line items. This is super important for understanding a company's liquidity, and we're going to focus specifically on bank statement reconciliations. All right, so these assets are the most liquid, and they play a very important role in a company's day-to-day operations. So we need to make sure that we get this line item right. So we're going to have you watch all the video lectures, complete all of the multiple choice practice questions, and we want you to go ahead and complete the task-based simulation while watching the video explanation after. Next, we're moving into trade receivables, which represent the amount that is owed to the company for goods or services provided. All right, so we're going to talk about different types of receivables, but it's essential for determining the company's ability to collect cash and maintain liquidity. So we want you to watch all the video lectures. We want you to complete 20 plus multiple choice practice questions. We want you to complete 1 or 2 trade receivable simulations and watch the video explanation afterwards.
I'm going to pause you right there. If you missed days 1 through 7 of our FAR CPA exam retake videos, you can find that below.
Next up, we have inventory. All right, so diving into inventory valuation, this is essential for understanding how companies report their cost of goods sold and their ending inventory balance. All right, so those are the 2 line items that you're primarily going to be asked to calculate on this exam. Okay, and we also need to know where it's getting classified, aka is it getting classified on the income statement or the balance sheet? Sometimes both. Okay, so there are several methodologies used to value inventory, but we're going to focus a little bit more heavily on the moving average method and dollar value LIFO, especially because this is a 30-day retake strategy roadmap. At this point, it's important to narrow your focus on some of those very challenging methodologies. All right, so the moving average method involves recalculating the average cost of inventory after each purchase, whereas the dollar value LIFO methodology, on the other hand, is a more advanced method. It allows companies to track inventory in dollar terms, adjusting for inflation or changes in inventory prices. So both of these methods have significant implications for the financial statements. And being asked which one to use is going to be key for getting these answers correct on your exam. So super important that you complete all the video lectures here and focus your attention on how this is getting calculated, both ending inventory and cost of goods sold. And there's quite a few multiple choice questions to answer, so complete at least 25 plus of them, and then go ahead and do the inventory simulations if you have the extra time. In day 9, we're going through property, plant, and equipment. So there are 2 parts to PP&E. We have valuation of fixed assets and then depreciation methodologies. So valuing fixed assets involves understanding how to accurately calculate costs. And a tricky part of this process is the calculation of the weighted average accumulated expenditures and capitalized interest. All right, this is going to be one of those sneaky questions they can ask that's a little bit more advanced. So watch all the video lectures here and complete 10 plus multiple choice practice questions and try to find some of those more complex questions. Now, when it comes to PP&E depreciation methodologies, this is another important area, and we need to understand how depreciation affects assets that are being valued. So there are a few different methodologies here that you must know, and if you do know them, these are very easy points on the exam. All right, so watch these video lectures and understand how these are getting calculated, complete 10 plus multiple choice practice questions,
And try to knock out a task-based simulation for either of these 2 modules.
So moving on into day 10, we're going to focus on intangible assets, which are assets that don't have a physical form, but are still super important for a company's operations and long-term value. So these assets can include things like goodwill, patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Since intangible assets don't have a physical presence, they require different accounting treatments compared to tangible assets like buildings or machinery. So understanding how to recognize and measure these assets is going to be critical because it impacts how a company's financial position is being reported. Additionally, you'll need to know how to amortize these assets over their useful life. And then you're going to need to know how to test for impairment, which we'll cover tomorrow in day 11. All right, so for the purposes of intangible assets, we want you to watch all the video lectures, complete 20 plus multiple choice practice questions, and then try to complete that intangible asset simulation. So moving into day 11, testing for impairment as mentioned, this is going to be another really important one for understanding the concepts in both intangible assets and long-lived assets. So impairment occurs when the carrying value of an asset exceeds its recoverable amount, meaning the asset is no longer worth what is stated on the balance sheet. So impairment testing is especially important for intangible assets like goodwill, which must be tested annually for impairment. Similarly, fixed assets and other long-lived assets may also need to undergo impairment testing if certain triggering events occur, such as a significant decline in market value. All right, so it's super important to understand both qualitative and quantitative factors in impairment testing, including how to calculate the recoverable amount and how to measure the loss when impairment is recognized. All right, so on day 11, we want you to watch these video lectures, complete the 20 plus multiple choice practice questions, as well as that task-based simulation. All right, booyah, we've made it to day 12. Okay, so now we're going to do another progress test. It's all about reinforcing everything we've learned so far. Spaced repetition is going to help solidify concepts in your long-term memory, and a progress test is the best way to review and gauge your understanding of the material. You can simply select from the progress test and choose the chapters that you want to test. So at this point, we want you to go through chapters 1, 2, and 3, because that's where we are up to this point. So complete 50 to 100 multiple choice practice questions and complete at least 3 task-based simulations from chapters 1, 2, and 3. Use this as an opportunity to review and apply the concepts we've covered up to this point. Don't rush and take your time to really digest each question and simulation. At the end of the day here, the goal is to reinforce your understanding and identifying any areas that might need more attention before moving forward.